What's up guys, it's Gaz at Fermentedworld. Today I'm going to be brewing in this vessel, revolutionary thing called a Pinter. Excuse the mess behind me. I would say it's not mine, but it is. I just haven't got around to tidying it up because I just don't care enough. So what you do is you get these things called Pinter packs sent through the post. When you subscribe with it, you get it for 12 quid. That £12 does 10 pints of home brewed beer. All you need is a fridge and about 20 minutes to knock it together. If that, depending on how many times you've done it. First of all, hot tap water. Nope, not first of all, hot tap water. Inside your pack, you get the liquid that you use as your wort. You get some yeast and some sanitizer. Every single thing of this is recyclable and sustainable. All the stuff is recyclable. This would be recyclable, that would be recyclable. Everything can be recycled. Nothing's wasted. Take some of your sanitizer. Now here's a tip. I use a milk jug to take my water from the tap to put it into the Pinter because I just can't get the Pinter underneath the sink. That's just the way it is. I do sanitize this, so I don't pour all of this sanitizer into the vessel. So we're going to put most of it in because you do need quite a bit in, and we're going to keep a small amount specifically for that once we're finished putting the hot water in. Because we're using hot water, it will kill any germs and bacteria anyway. This is the first time I've done a Pinter video actually. I've been brewing with it for probably about 6 months now, and I've had some good results, I've had some dud results. I've had a couple of issues with the vessel itself where we had to change something out, and it turned out that the actual dock was what was causing the problem. So we changed everything apart from the dock, and then finally changed the dock and realised that that's what the problem was. So now I'm back brewing with it again. It's just another reason to brew something. Go check out my video for yesterday. I brewed a Turkish Delight roasted stout just from a malt extract kit. Bloody brilliant. Bash it together. I've got high hopes for it. It might not turn out as strong as I expected it to. Now on the inside there's a line that you fill this to. So you fill it to the line. There's also a new app as well for this, so you can follow the instructions on the app, or there is if you don't want the app, there is just on the website step-by-step instructions. I've done it plenty of times now, so I kind of know what I've got to do. So now I take the rest of the sanitizer and I put it in there, and then I fill that up with hot water. Now I use this, I don't know if anyone else does, but you need to sanitize it for starters. So get some of that water making contact with all of that. And I use this to oxygenate because I don't like wobbling it around like they tell you to. Just got to try and get all of that mixed in there nicely. Right, that's there. Turn the tap off. Okay, you want to try and get it all that the granules dissolved in there as best you can, and then give you, if you are using a separate vessel to move your water around with, just give that a swirl. Make sure it's all dissolved and it's all nice and sanitary. I need a glass. Right. So we're going to leave this for 10 minutes. I'm going to put the conical on, make sure that that's connected in there properly into the grooves all the way. It can't go on wrong really, there's only one way you can put these on. Spin it around all the way until your arrows line up there, and then you just push that down flat like that. Move that out of the way. No, I don't need to move that out of the way actually. And then you get your brewing dock. So this is literally just finished a brew of a, what was it I did? 4 Saisons one, which is quite a nice ale that they do. So spin it round, and then you've got lines here and here. A goes to 1, pop that on like so. Find the groove, push it down, get some beans, and then it eventually finds its way on. And you twist it round. That's gone a bit hard actually. I don't think that's engaged properly. No, that's not going on properly. As I was saying, it is really simple. Normally. Let's put this down in there because I think it's wobbling about a bit and I'm not getting enough pressure on it maybe. All the way down. There we are. That's better. Just needed a bit of general persuasion. Now by now on the instructions they would have already told you to shake it around a bit, possibly before you put the dock on. I just like doing it this way. I like the sound of it. Glug, 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 glug. Right. And then we rest that there. Make sure it's set for carbonated, because you don't want water peeing out of it. Leave that there 10 minutes, let it sanitize. Then we're going to put in the fresh press pack and the yeast. Simple as that. Back in 10 minutes when this is done. So that's been 10 minutes. My little tripod thing's broken, so it doesn't really stand up very well. See, like I said, such a noob at this shit, but you know what? I'm getting there. I'm slowly getting there. Should we try it further down? Is that any better? Possibly. Yeah, that's better. Right then. So what you do is you get your pinter, pop it back in your sink, and now you're going to release this. Sometimes you might get a bit of a spray of like water come out of it as the conical pushes itself back in. Give that like that. It smells clean. There's a valve inside here on this black bit here that we screwed into the vessel. That acts as a gateway between this part where all your sediment's going to go into the bottom and that kind of thing. Then you release the carbonation valve, and they say to put the handle on, but you don't really need to. You just let a little bit out through the front there, just like that. Put your dock to the side. Empty this hot water out that's had your sanitizer in. Because we're going to use that in a second. Find somewhere to rest it so it can drip out. They say to wait until it's dry. I never do, and I've had no issues whatsoever. Oh, turn your valve back onto carbonate so it doesn't dribble out the back. These can be a bit stiff to get opened, especially after you've had beer in them for such a long time, like, you know, like say however long you brew it for. And that's the good thing about these, is you can tailor the brew to whenever you want to drink it. So for instance, you could knock one of these beers up and out in 7 days most of the time, but you risk having a less balanced, less flavoursome, but you will have beer, and it will be okay. You will be fine with it. First couple of ones I did a very, very small amount of time in between each one, just because I wanted a quick turnaround. But then, as they started developing the idea of it, they started saying, you know, you can wait longer, you can condition for longer, you can cold crash, you can rehydrate your yeast, which is something that I haven't done, but you can. So I've cold crashed one yesterday with the other vessel. This one's called the Co-Pinter, because this isn't the original one. The original one that I had was covered in Rick and Morty stickers. So that's that. Oh, that's pretty much good to go now. So what we do is we turn it around like that so you can see that little line inside there. We're going to get your jug if you're using one. If you've got a massive sink, that's very helpful. I don't have a massive sink. I have a standard size sink. So it's really hard to get the pinter underneath it to actually fill it up. Bit of a design flaw maybe? Who knows? Now, we are going to fill up with water to the middle of the black line at the back of the vessel. £10 pints for 12 quid. It's not bad. That's if you sign up to the subscription. If you don't sign up, it's about £16 to £14, depending on what the beer is. Like I said, today we are doing the Public House IPA. And each one comes with its own yeast, its own sanitizer, so you don't need any extra equipment to be able to brew. Now, I brew normal home brew anyway, just because, you know, I started doing this just as like to see what it was like, and quite enjoyed it. Surprised how many other people use it as well. Water's in there. You then take your liquid malt extract, pretty much is what this is. Should be about 4.2 when it's done. Hoppy aroma, easy going as hell, deep, malty and hoppy, a hop forward beer with a strong burst of piney, resinous and earthy characters, a seriously drinkable pale ale. Carbonating dial set to carbonated. Obviously if you don't set it to carbonated, you won't get no carbonation because it will release all the gases out. So when you're doing a cider, you can do a cider where you can have it fizzy or not fizzy, depending on what your preference is. So brewing time, it says 4 days and conditioning 3 days. I'm going to do it a lot different. So I don't need this until the weekend after next. So I'm going to do 7 days brew and then probably a 6 day. No, because anyway, I'll figure it out so that it lands ready for the Friday after the one coming up. And that's the thing about these, you can proper like calculate as to when you want to drink it, as to how long you want to do your brew for, which is great. It's nice. So very carefully pour this in because they do glug. And that's just going into that water that we've already put into there. Little tip, just before you've finished emptying this, add a bit of water to it and give it a swizzle round. Just so you get the last bits of that residue out, as I was saying, because these are the sugars that are going to cause or create the alcohol. The yeast is going to eat the sugar inside here. It's going to produce alcohol. So you want to get all of that out. So add a bit of water, swizzle it in. Not too much, because you don't really want to go over the amount that you're supposed to put in, because it could froth over. So just let that drip in there for a minute or two. My favourite ones that I've done so far, I've done a few of these. A few of them are okay, a few of them weren't all that. My favourite is the Space Hopper, which is a double IPA, 7%. It's really fruity, it's got plenty of flavour. And the Nitro Stout as well was really, really good. Okay. So yeah, get all that gunky stuff in there. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Might even get a last little bit out, just for the grin. Yeah! So that's all that's out. That'll go straight into the recycling bin, or here's a tip for you. You can reuse these. Some people have reused them for water planters, where you buy something that you screw on and it just drip feeds into the water planter when you go on holiday or something. Or I use them for ice packs. Say if you're going out for a picnic or something like that with your family, fill these up to about there, freeze it, perfect ice pack. Keep all your sandwiches nice and cold. So that can go to the side right now. And we're going to get some air into this now. I'm going to oxygenate this brew, because the yeast needs the oxygen to be able to start a colony, to be able to do its job properly. And you want to mix all the malt extract into your water, or it's not going to be as effective as it at working. And then once you've done that a little bit, take your boomstick out. You don't have to use that. You can just follow their instructions and shake it about. That's perfectly fine. Then you're going to add your yeast. We call this pitching the yeast, because we're posh like that, don't you know? As you can tell, I'm very, very posh. No, I'm not. You can use half of this yeast. You can use all of this yeast. Regardless of how much you use, it will start a colony. Now, I use 1 packet of yeast sometimes for a 23 litre batch of homebrew, which I've got one over there at the moment. You could use half of this and then save half of it for something else, like, I don't know, whatever you want to make it with, do with it. But I'm going to put it all in, just because that's how we roll. The more you have in there, the quicker the fermentation will be, the more rapid it will be, and the easier the yeast will find to start up a colony and get on with eating them sugars. Get them nice and mixed in all in there. Lovely jubbly. Now, you add your conical. Screw that back on there like so. And then hopefully we don't struggle again with the the docking vessel, which I'm going to do in the sink this time, because I think it would be better. Turn it around. You've got to make sure that all your stars are aligned. No, all the little arrows and stuff are all lined up perfectly, because that's how it works. That's what makes it happy as Larry. All the way down. that doing it? No, it's not. It's not engaged properly. Few stressful minutes later, I've turned it upside down and done it in reverse. They show you that it should be on the up part of it. I turned it upside down and attached it that way, and there you go. It is now attached. You keep that at room temperature with the carbonation dial on carbonate. Keep it at room temperature for however long you're going to brew it for, and then you do something called a cold crash. So you get this whole vessel. You don't have to do this, but it helps if you've got the room for it. You take this whole vessel with the dock attached and you put it in your fridge stood upright like that, and what that does is it helps to clear all the yeast and stuff that's just sat around and all the sediment floating around, takes it all down into the bottom part of the dock here, giving you a much clearer beer with less yeast in. First couple of brews I did, I didn't cold crash it, and I did have quite a lot of yeast in the first couple of pours, which wasn't really a problem because it was a wheat beer anyway, so it was supposed to have like yeasty notes, float like that. So yeah, that's gonna go. I'm gonna do it to make it land for next Friday, so that would be, where's my calendar? What are we on today? Today's the 16th. It is, so to make it land for Friday, that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 days. So I'll do a 6-day brew and a 6-day condition. By the conditioning, what you do is you take the dock off and you just lay it down on its side like that in your fridge, and all the bits what are left over that didn't get caught in the bottom of the jobby, what's it called? The dock. The bits that don't get collected in there then settle at the bottom of the vessel, and as you pour it off, they stay on the bottom, and the beer comes out nicely. Yeah. You have to turn the carbonation dial off when you're going to pour a beer, otherwise it won't let it out. But then always remember to turn it back, because whatever bubbles you've got in here is all the bubbles you're gonna get. It doesn't carbonate again or anything. So if you leave that open like I have before by accident, your beer will be losing its carbonation. And that's pretty much it. So that's going to go over there with all the other brewing stuff now, and it's going to sit there for 6 days, and then cold crash for 6 days. Sorry, no. Condition for 6 days, but on the first day, 24 hours in the fridge upright, just drops all the crappy gunk down, and you'll be surprised at how much of a clearer beer you get for it. And that's that. Pinter. Slightly annoying when it doesn't work properly when you're trying to do a fecking video, but that's right. That's just how it goes. Switching it upside down, it worked. But I'll show you my beer fridge, which has actually got a pinter in it at the moment. This was my original pinter before I bought the co-pinter. This has got the 4 Saisons ale in there, which will be ready about Friday. And that's it in its conditioning stage. It takes up quite a bit of room, but this is literally a beer fridge. Nothing else comes in here apart from beer. They're the other ones, the fresh presses that I've got to do. The reason why I've got so bloody many is because I went a bit mad when I was buying them, and didn't realise that I wasn't going to use them as quick as I thought I was going to use them. So there's a couple to get through, which is why I've paused my subscription. But yeah, Friday, this will be getting poured off, and we'll have some beer.